She gets the opportunity to form her own identity rather than people telling her who she is. I was watching what's it called, Shiva Princess of Power. I only watched like the first 1 or 2 episodes, but it's really cool so far. And it made me think of how, like, why the main character in your story is so important. Like, when we meet our first main characters, it's like, we have Ketra and Adora, and then we have Bo and Glimmer, like from one side and from the other side, like 2 people from each side, right? And you're wondering things like, okay, why wasn't Glimmer the main character, or why not Bo or Ketra? The reason is that it's Adora is because the person to change like the story or change the direction of how things have been is someone who is on both sides, right? Because we need someone who started out like in the Horde, as they call it, and then who's gonna go over to like the princessy to the princess's side. So you need like it's just like what's it called in Harry Potter. Mind you, this is not my idea. It's just something that they had mentioned in either in school or in some writing book I had read. Yeah, I think it might have been in a writing book I had read. Like it might have been Save the Cat. I'm not sure. But they said, why isn't Ron the main character in Harry Potter, or Hermione, right? And they said it has to be Harry because it's something like he grew up in the Muggle world, and then he comes over like into Hogwarts and stuff, So it's like he's a person that like has a foot in both worlds, right? And that made me think the same thing of Troll Hunter. I really love Troll Hunter. There's like, for the honor of Merlin, glory of Merlin, daylight is mine to command. Like, tell me that's not cool. Tell me you don't want a cool incantation every time you use like anyway, so I love that show. But then that's another thing, Troll Hunters, right? And barring spoilers, it's like, why does the main character have to be Jim, right? It's supposed to be like the soldier was supposed to be like the hero was supposed to be a troll, right? Don't mind me little spoilers, right? They're like, why is it a human? So when they see him, they're like, you're so weak and scrawny. What are you gonna save? It's so funny. But it's because he's a human, so he can exist in daylight and in nighttime. So he can do more things than the trolls themselves can do. And he has access to more forces, more people, like other human beings that help him on his quest. So he is the one who unites like the troll world and the human world. And that's why, since he brings those two worlds together, that's why one of the reasons why he is chosen as the main character, because you're like, yeah, troll hunter, if he's saving the trolls, why is he a human? It's usually something like that I've noticed across different TV shows that I like. So the same thing with him, Jim from Troll Hunters, Adora from She-Ra, and then what is it, just like Harry from Harry Potter. Mind you, I'm not read up on it, so that's just from my very minimal Harry Potter knowledge, okay? But it just made me think about like, like that's one of the essential elements of an effective main character. Yeah. One thing, like in life, but also in especially in this TV show that I'm watching, I really love I mean, you'd probably guess it, that my favorite character is Bo, because he's always super calm and level-headed, and he sees people as people. So whereas Glimmer and Katja and Adora, they see people as, oh, this is like the Horde side, and oh, this is Princess's side. Anyone on the opposite side is like evil and vile and all these kind of things, right? But Bo, he sees not nuance in the situation. He's telling Glimmer, he's like, hey, like, she doesn't know what's going on just as much as we do, like he understands, like genuinely she is a person who has been manipulated and controlled and all those things, like from since she was small, like like that he is able to identify, like, yes, she has been lied to. It's not just her trying to deceive them or anything like that. Yeah. So I always appreciate characters like that who's kind of in the middle, like super level-headed, like they can really see all the parts of a situation and not just be like, oh, off with their head or whatever. like he's able to see like, okay guys, so we need to work together so we can get out of here alive. So anyway, appreciation, for that character. you know like I said, the main character needs to be someone between two worlds, because it's always something like, the knowledge of one and the training of the other. Like, for example, for the knowledge part, like the princess's side, it seems like they know much more about the world, about their world, than the Horde does, or than what's her name, Adora, has been taught, right? So they have knowledge. But Adora, she has like, her innate knowledge, like her ability to read the whatever thingy on the door, like her innate abilities, but also her training. Because at least in her group, they don't play about how they train their people. I mean, you know what it's called, but let's not make this too sad. So, like they don't play. Like I would find like she's the best fighter all out of them. And plus she has like, Supergirl power up, right? Whereas Glimmer and Bow, he has, okay, multifunctional arrows, okay? And Glimmer has like teleportation and, Glimmer powers, right? But me, if I wanted to survive, I would absolutely be on Catcher's side, because that's the ones, like, that's the one who knows how to fight, who knows how to stay alive and keep you safe. Whereas the princess side, just as of now, it's like, oh, la 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 la, fairy magic. I'm sorry. That's how it is, you know what I'm saying? So that's why, like, they definitely need to be working together, because neither side has the whole picture in terms of survival, right? Because Adora, on her side, she has no knowledge of the outside world until she meets Glimmer and Bow. You see what I'm saying? And it's so important that she got to see the festival for herself. She got to experience it for herself. That's why she was able to see that the people are human. All they doing is singing and dancing, like she said. They're just civilians. They're not like trained people or anything. Meanwhile, on the other side, you got Ketra and the, super soldier stuff, And wait, what was I about to say? Sorry. So yeah, I said it's really important that Adora got to see for herself, like on one side, like, hey, this is how the people actually are. They're not any kind of threat. They're literally just people living in peace. Literally just living in peace. And her side painted them as some kind of like superpower threat or whatever, and said all of them's evil. So it's really important she got to see it with her own eyes, experience it with her own eyes, their kindness, their care towards it, all that, blah, 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 blah. And she gets to see people, like kind of how Bo sees them, right? Whereas what she was taught is just that indiscriminately any people of this affiliation are evil, are, dangerous, vile, whatever. Sorry to say, for the first two episodes, it's nothing of the sort, Like, princesses have hardly any combat power, I know it's the only first two episodes, but, what I'm saying is they're severely and sorely unmatched. They need, like, the princess side, they need Adora. They need her, because she's the only one who has, like, real fight training survival skills, right? But then also on the other side, Adora needs the princess side. Like, she needs people like Glimmer and Bow, because they actually have, far as we know, like, they actually have care, decency, like family stuff, like community. You see what I'm saying? Like, both sides represent different things, Adora's side has, like, they can fight, right? And they can train, but they have no sense of family or heart-based kind of stuff. It's just trained to fight, and it's everything is in isolation. Whereas the princess's thing, it's like, community, family, communication, and like, la 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 la, we're happy, But, it's funny how, like, even in the very beginning, you can see both of these two kind of themes coming together in her character. Like, they really do need each other. They cannot do this without each other. The same thing that Glimmer and Bow cannot survive without Adora, They need her fighting skills, right? They need her, like, innate knowledge of the ruins and stuff, right? But at the same time, Adora also cannot survive without Glimmer and Bow, because at least now, like, she needs, like, people who truly care about her, like, a sense of community, family, celebration, belonging, like that. like brightness and spark in life. That's why Bo asks her, he's like, what? You've never been to a party? Right, and he's like, Glimmer, this is so important. Like this is top priority, right? And so he takes her out in the festival stalls to eat all the nice food and stuff, and dance and music and just culture. Yeah, her place, Adora's place, never had any culture. It was devoid of any real signs of life, you know, besides just survival mindset. That's it. Training, day in, day out. Um, you know, that's it, right? And then, so like I said, even that, like I love how they wrote this scene, because then he took her to see all the festival stuff, and not only was it like Bo showing her care, like care for her well-being as a human being, it also set the story up to say, okay, now she can make a sharp contrast between how these people actually live, actually show up as very kind human beings, versus then she actually gets to see how her side treats them. You know, she gets to see a very sharp contrast between those two things, and therefore she gets to make the decision for herself. It's not anybody just telling her, oh, princesses is bad or the horde is bad. No, she literally gets to see with her own eyes, and that is so important. That's why it's so important for like shows, movies, TV, and media to show us rather than to tell us, because Adara has been told all her life princesses are evil, vile, dangerous creatures with no whatever, no care, no kindness, whatever, right? And she literally learns that everything she's been told is a lie. You see what I'm saying? So it's important that she gets to see for herself, not just be told, have those decisions made for her. Now she gets to be a character who steps into a place where she's given the information, shown the information, treated like a human being with agency, and she gets to make these decisions for herself, you know? Immediately the three characters say like, okay, we want to get out of here alive, so let's work together for a little bit, you know? You know, of course, Adora has her own motive. You know, she wants to learn about where she came from. And of course, Glimmer and Bo have their own motive. Like, Glimmer wants to prove herself so she can get promoted, right? And then on that part, I do have to say, like, she seems like she does have very good, kind of like instincts in battle, but it's just that her powers, like the level of her powers, are not caught up to it yet. Like, right now, her powers is like, oh yeah, that's cute, you know? I'm sorry, but I would love it if the princesses got trained. Like, I wish that they had the level of training. Not the manipulation and all that stuff, of course, but I wish they had the level of tactical training that Adara's people did, you know? Like, that's why I'm saying that they need each other, because, you know, if Catra had them powers like the princesses do, oh, please, it would be all over. They're lucky she ain't had no powers. They're lucky only the princesses have powers. Like, you get what I'm saying? Princesses have power, but then the other side has real tactical training. And I'm sorry, but that's gonna trump this any day. You know, that's gonna be way more powerful any day. I would go behind Adara or Catra any day so that my ass can be protected. But anyway, so yeah, I just love looking at these first two episodes and looking at like the trade-offs they have. Like, you can have superpower, but if your superpower is at level 1, you're no chance against somebody who's literally trained, you know, like literally a trained fighter. So like, I'm so excited to see, like, you know, where the story goes, and like see the characters leveling up and being a badass fighters. Like, I am excited to see Glimmer and Bo be badass fighters. And it's really cool that, you know, Adara, like, you know, she made that decision. She stood her ground, you know. What is it? And I love to see, like, you know, the two characters, Catra and Adora, like, they literally grew up together. And just like Catra said, she's like, you left these people, you left us, who you've known all your life, for these people who you've known for what, a few hours? Like, that was a great line. Like, it's just really good setup. Like, honestly, like, yeah, so that's my thoughts. I have fun, you know, sharing, like, you know, my blah 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 on the characters and stuff. Anyway, bye for now. Oh, and I say, and as always, keep thinking.